What's the word I'm looking for?
Okay, let's back this wagon up. We could just throw something in there.
Hi, I'm Bargain Counter Argument, and I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books, libraries, and related content. And today is all about the Ever Afterathon scavenger hunt. The idea is to go to a library or library sale or used bookstore, I think. I don't know if she mentioned used bookstore, but or little free library. And to do a scavenger hunt looking for books that what's the word I'm looking for? Books that fit into one of the 4 subgenre categories of time travel, dark historical romance, gothic romance. What's the other one I'm looking for? Pirate. That's pirates or at sea romance, and Cinderella, which is fairy tale retelling. And I already did some advanced scavenger hunting on my computer using the online card catalog, the online library catalog. It's not really a card catalog anymore, but it is a catalog. Anyway, that's so I'm going to put that clip in here, and you can kind of see how I found the books that I'm going to just pick up, because I think just browsing the shelves can be a little bit of a needle in a haystack when you're looking for a specific subgenre. So I'm going to put that clip in here, and like I said, I already recorded it, so I know what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to go to that library to pick those books up, and then I'm going to go to a library sale at a different library. And I don't know how much filming I'm going to do. Yesterday I went to a couple of bookstores, and I did a fair amount of filming in one and not very much in the other. I'm currently editing that video. That's going to be a separate kind of situation. That's going to be a separate video. So yeah, that's the deal for today.
Okay, I am looking at the special edition of the Ever Afterathon news bulletin. We have the team rankings, but below that we have the week 2 challenge, the weekly challenge, and it's down here and it's also over here in the caption. And it says we're going on a scavenger book hunt, and we're going to our local public library and physically checking out a book. Discover at least one book that matches one of the team's subgenre, character, and or trope. You can also go to a library book sale, a little free library, or independent bookstore. And booktubers, you can always do a library, you can even do a library haul or book shopping vlog. Okay, well, I'm already working on the book shopping vlog. I'm going to a library sale later today, but I thought it might be kind of fun and maybe even helpful, instructional, to actually do my library scavenger hunt from the comfort of my own home. And I don't want to say that it's a lazy way to do it, because, you know, that's a prejudicial word, and I think it's just kind of showing what you can do to find what you're looking for. Now, I've already done this a little bit in advance to make this a more streamlined process, but I'll show you what I got up to. Okay, I'm opening a new tab, and I'm closing Instagram because I don't need it anymore. Duh. Okay, so we're going to go to Encore Library Catalog, which is a consortium of libraries, and I'm going to go to Connecticut because that's where I live, and there might be other communities that have an Encore library, you know, and I don't want to do all my searching in the wrong place. We're digging in the wrong place. That's it. Raiders of the Lost Ark reference. Okay, so now we're at Library Connection Incorporated, and we want to search the catalog. Okay, I want advanced search. And I am going to go from keyword to subject, and I'm going to go pirates, fiction. You can see I already searched for that. Like I said, I was doing that in advance. And now I don't want to, if I look in any library, any format, any location, it's going to give me way too much stuff. So I'm going to narrow it down to a single library, which is in Cromwell, Connecticut. So this is Cromwell Belden Library. And I'm going to go with adult collection. Excuse me. I'm going to go with adult collections because when I looked when I just looked in Cromwell Library, there were a lot of titles that were for children, picture books and such, because kids like pirates. Pirates are colorful and those are fun books, but I'm looking for something a little more adult. Okay, there was a little bit of an edit there because I kind of got sidetracked, but the format we're looking for, I'm going to narrow it down to books because you can find all kinds of stuff. Where are the books? I knew that. Okay, you could get large print DVDs, cake pans. Probably find a pirate cake pan. Okay, so I'm going to hit search. And as you can see, I got 25 hits. We've got Pirate Latitudes, The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, Trees of the Emerald Sea, and a lot of stuff. Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Robert. That's definitely a pirate romance, but I've already read it. However, we have here Beautiful Tempest by Joanna Lindsay, which is part of the Mallory series. And you can see all of these different libraries have it, but we mostly care about Cromwell. So that was Pirate. Okay, let's back this wagon up. And here we're going to go with time travel fiction, as opposed to all the real time travel that goes on. And we still have the same parameters. We want a book that is available in the adult collection at Cromwell Belden Public Library. Let's see what happens. Okay, we have the murder, the mirror, this time tomorrow, the invisible hour, wrong place, wrong time. That's good. It's a thriller. And then we have Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. So we've got some Outlander stuff. Ministry of Time I read. That was pretty good. The Husbands was excellent. I wouldn't say it's time travel so much as alternate universes, but it was really good. I would highly recommend it. And In 5 Years is definitely a book I read. Yeah, enough said. And I saw one earlier, One Last Stop. This is really good, but I've already read it. But there's one I hadn't read, and I think I found it on the 4th page, maybe. Like I said, I already looked for stuff, and I don't, to make this a more, yeah, here it is. The Second Chance Year by Melissa, I don't know if she pronounces it Wiesner or Weisner, but yeah, so there we go. I just edited out the exciting part where I backtracked to get back to this screen. Now we're going to look for governesses fiction. Victorian Psycho, that looks interesting, but oh, we have Governess Gone Rogue by Laura Lee Ogurki, and The Governess Game, and When a Duke Loves a Governess, The Silent Governess. Okay. Okay, that was another exciting backtrack to the advanced search screen again. And so we've got governess, time travel. Now we need fairy tale retellings. That's kind of a problem because I don't think that they have that as a category. Let's see. Cinderella. Let's see what happens if I look for Cinderella. Okay. Nothing there. Yeah, fairy tale retellings isn't really a category that you are going to find in a catalog. Let's see if... Well, let's see what happens if we just look for fairy tales. Whoops. I almost put in dairy tales. Fairy tales. Okay. This is a lot. Oh, okay. So actually doing that worked to a degree. We got Tangled Up in You, which is the Christina Lauren Rapunzel retelling. I enjoyed that. Ooh, A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. That was definitely Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Nettle and Bone, Ariadne. Let's see if they get into stuff like A Kiss at Midnight or An Offer from a Gentleman. Hmm. There's a lot of good stuff here, but not quite what I'm looking for. Here we go. A Duchess a Day by Karis Michaels. That looks like it's probably an historical romance. And it is currently available. And let's see if there's a summary. Here we go. You can read that for yourself if you want to pause the screen. And here you can see what's happening is that it is a specific Snow White retelling, which, oh, that's really, really interesting to me. So it's perhaps if we, hmm, let's see, I'm gonna backtrack to the advanced search screen. Come on, there we go. And that was Snow White Tale, Cinderella Tale. Let's see what happens if we, whoops, if we do that. That didn't work. Let's go back and see Snow White Tale. Yeah, so there we have the Snow Whites. Now, but it didn't give me anything for Cinderella. Let me see quickly if they have A Kiss at Midnight and what they have to say about that. A Kiss at Midnight. You can see where I've looked for that before. Okay, they do have it. Let's see if it says anything about Cinderella. Oh, come on. Okay, this doesn't specify that it is a Cinderella retelling. Well, that's fine because I fulfilled the terms of the scavenger hunt. I found the governess romance, I found the time travel romance, I found the pirate romance, and I found the fairy tale retelling romance. So later today, I will go to the Cromwell Library and pick those up and have a little clip of that. And yeah. Now that we've explored Encore with some specific ideas of what we're looking for, you may be asking, Sock, what if I don't have Encore? What if I have a different library system? Well, they'll kind of look the same. Now, I have access to another library consortium here in Connecticut, so we'll take a look at that one. It is through, it's called Lion, and it's through Durham Public Library. A lot of different, oh, here we go. We could just go down to Durham Library, and then we can click on the catalog. And we could just throw something in there, or we can do an advanced search. Now, what we want to find is pirates. I already did this, and then I realized that there was a, I wasn't recording. I was like, oh dear. So pirates in the subject, and we want to add a search field, which is diction, no fiction, not pirates fiction, but pirates, and search in subject. Now let's see what happens when we do this. Oh, we can also add a search group like we did before and search for optional filters. And here we can say, like, this time, why don't we look to find audiobooks? So we got audiobooks, and e-audiobook is the format. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go. Let's see. Find. Okay, so that got us 13. So we got Treasure Island, Count of Monte Cristo, Robinson Crusoe, Peter Pan, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Djibouti by Elmore Leonard, which is more than likely going to be a mystery or adventure, because that's what Elmore Leonard does. Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. Now here they do have summaries, but it's just like based on the publication information, like the summary that's on the dust jacket flapper on the back of the book or something. And here, it's all just quotes about how awesome Elmore Leonard is, which he is, but that's not what we're looking for. Now here, this one's a little more useful. We've got this. This is an adventure story, not necessarily a romance. We know it's Michael Crichton, writes adventure stories, not romance. This is nonfiction. And then now we're cooking with gas because we've got Once a Scoundrel by Mary Jo Putney, which you can see that average rating there on that was 2 stars. If the Tide Turns by Rachel Ruckert, 2 stars. Planet Pirates, Generation Warriors by Anne McCaffrey. Destiny's Captive by Beverly Jenkins, which if you're doing the Ever Afterathon would get you points because a lot of these pirate stories are not set in England or Scotland. And so you get bonus points for that, and you get bonus points here because we have BIPOC author and BIPOC representation. Never Never by Brianna Shrum, which I think this is... I don't know that this is a romance, but it looks interesting. If you've read it, let me know. There was an awkward edit there because I was having some issues with the Durham catalog. But I was thinking that anybody watching this might be interested in how to find a book that they don't know how to categorize. Like they want to read mafia romance, but they don't know how that would be expressed in the catalog. I'm just using that as a for instance. Now, what I would suggest is that let's Google popular mafia romance. And Brutal Prince. We're going to look to see. We're going to go back to Encore because they frankly have a much more diverse collection than the other consortium that I was looking in just now. So we're back on Encore. Okay, it's just taking a moment to load. Graphics heavy. I'm probably doing way too many things at once on this computer. So we're going to look up, what was this? We'll see Bound by Honor. They probably don't have that, but let's see. Oh, they do. Okay. They have it as a downloadable audiobook. Well, even if you don't want a downloadable audiobook, you can still click on that and then scroll all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Okay, this one's not particularly helpful because all it says is romances. Well, that's to you. Let's try Ruthless People. No, not Ruthless People. What was the Sophie Lark one? Brutal Prince. Let's see about Brutal Prince. I looked it up before. Okay, this is interesting because they don't have Brutal Prince, but they're laterally thinking. So they gave me Hate Me, a dark arranged marriage romance by Summer O'Toole, whose work I'm not familiar with. I've never heard the name before, but it's nice that they looked at that the algorithm somehow figured out that Brutal Prince, they didn't have Brutal Prince, but you might like this instead. Perfect for fans of Brutal Prince. You can see this is part of the Fox Family Crime Syndicate. Okay, the subject is billionaires fiction. Again, this is not particularly helpful. Well, I'm going to just skip ahead to one that I know they have. You could sit here all day trying to find books that they might have. But I know that they have Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Geisinger. They have it as a downloadable audiobook, but I'm going to look at book because that would be my preferred format. Now, if you look in here, you can see there are 2 copies in the system. It's on order for Colchester, and oh, what's this? Somebody has it checked out from Windsor Locks Public Library. I don't know who that could be. I don't know who recently read that and hasn't gotten a chance to return it yet. I'm not sure. Okay, so you can see here they have a lot of subjects. They have man-woman relationships, missing persons, secrecy, sadomasochism, bondage, sexual behavior, and mafia. So what we might want to do is click on, like, let's say, man-woman relationships. That's going to give us a lot of books as a subject. Short. Okay, that gives us like almost 32,000 titles. However, we're going to go to advanced search and limit this. So we're going to and keyword, actually, and subject. We saw another subject that had was mafia. So we'll put in mafia. Mafia. You can see I've done this before. And let's just go ahead and look to see what they have no matter what the format or the location. Okay, that's only 54 titles. It's not comprehensive, obviously, because they had some of those other titles, but they weren't classified as mafia romance. So you can see there's a lot of stuff here. Sincerely, the boss, with an exclamation mark. And yeah, so there's some of this stuff is obviously this A Plague on Both Your Houses by Robert Little. He mostly writes he writes a lot of spy stuff and Cold War stuff. And so that's probably not going to be a mafia romance in the sense that Ruthless Creatures is. It is going to involve the mafia, and there's probably going to be a relationship of it in it, but it's not uh, that kind of romance. But they do have God of Wrath, and again, Ruthless Creatures, God of Pain, and so let's see what else. Mafia Boss. So you can see you're going to get some stuff that's not necessarily what you're looking for, but you will see things that are, like Promises and Pomegranates. And up here we have Savage Hearts, which I would like to read. Let's see. We have it in Manchester. Well, one of these times I'll drive over to Manchester and pick it up, but not during the Ever Afterathon because I am busy. Something called Rocco by Sarah Castile. That's at Bristol. You can read the summary for yourself there. So that's an example of how you can look for that kind of book when you don't necessarily know what the subject would be. If you don't want to talk to a librarian about it, because that can be a little fraught, especially if you have social anxiety. But even if you don't, if you go up to the librarian and say, I want to read dark, smutty mafia romance, that's a bit of a conversation to have. So, not for the faint of heart, much as these books are not. So, hopefully this is some stuff you can work with. I did things in a slightly different order than I intended to. I ended up going to the library sale first in Durham, and I did take some pictures, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with them. And right now I'm just recording an after the fact voiceover about Cromwell because this video was getting kind of long with all of the library catalog stuff that I did. So I thought I'll just show my trip to the library, but I wasn't really able to record video. There were a lot of patrons, especially children around, although I went into the children's department and there weren't a whole lot of kids there. That was a little weird. But there weren't any kids there. I think they were all running around in the community center or something. Anyway, so this is a view of the library. To the right, you can see fiction stacks, and on the left, those little carve outs in the wall, that's all the mass market paperback fiction. And as you see the stacks vanishing off into the distance, they will go from fiction, which is where we are now, on toward the back of the wall. Toward the back wall is nonfiction. Okay, so and now I have some additional pictures I'm going to drop in and do a voiceover for. Okay, before I started looking for the books I wanted to pick up that I'd already searched for online, before I left the house, I took a quick trip to the sale corner. That's what they have. Oh, I don't know if they have any large library sales, but they have a permanent corner of the library where you can buy, as you can see, there are books. Uh, to the left are hardbacks, in the middle are paperbacks, and to the right, which is where the picture kind of cuts off a little bit, that's children's. And then you can see on the lower left shelves there are a bunch of puzzles and things. I didn't see anything that appealed to me today, and I really had picked up a lot of books at the other library sale I went to, so I left that corner and went looking for the books I had on my list. Okay, first I picked up a couple of Joanna Lindsey titles. I've got Gentle Rogue and Beautiful Temptress. Then Duchess a Day by Karis Michaels. Governess Gone Rogue by Laura Lee Gerke. Second Chance Year by Melissa Weisner. And there's the total stack with Tiara. When I got to the checkout desk, I saw that there was a flyer for a book club, Flirty Fiction, and this month they're talking about Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which I kind of DNF that one. Not, it wasn't bad or anything. It just wasn't where my head was at that time. But I'm going to keep an eye on this and see what they pick for upcoming books. And finally, in the children's department, they have the opposite of a TBR cart, a Nevermind cart. As you can see, that's to encourage people to, well, especially small children, to put their books on a cart rather than trying to reshelve them on their own. And I like that, the Nevermind cart. I can think of several books that I would put on the Nevermind cart. So that was my trip to the library. I don't really have any more pictures to share. I brought the books home, uh, and seeing library books on my shelves, that's not a particular novelty. So I'm just going to close out the video here. So that was my library scavenger hunt. I already posted to Instagram and claimed my team points, so that's good. And I don't have anything more to say except thank you for your attention and have a good day or night.